All right, welcome to the show, everybody. We got a show for you. I'm Donald W. Moore. I started Get Off My Lawn Records. Before we get started, I want everybody to leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching this video from. That'd be a lot of fun. And thumbs up, right? Thumbs up for the fact that we do this every week. I'm still a little under the weather now. Carissa caught it.
Yes.
So now she's under the weather.
Yes. This week I am death warmed over, apparently.
And who are you? Who the bleep are you?
I am death warmed over.
There you go. We started Get Off My Lawn Records. And to my left, who the bleep are you?
I am Cole Brining, local Austin musician.
Sure.
And interstate plastic sales extraordinaire for the time being.
Yeah, we try not to talk about our day jobs.
Awesome. I'm happy about that.
That's a spec. Like I'm sure that's a great company to work for and everything.
Not at all.
See, like that's
probably why.
Yeah. So, but obviously everything expressed here is the opinion of the person expressing the opinion, not necessarily our employers. But the economic realities of the world is that our politics have to align with our employers, but our employers don't have to align with our politics. Kind of sucks. So yeah, the reason we know Cole is because Cole sat in with us at the Highball.
He did.
And sang.
It was okay.
It was great. We had a good time.
On my part, I mean, the rest of the band sounded awesome.
Regal Cat. Get your claws out of that. And to my right, who the bleep are you wearing that ridiculous hat?
I am Doctor Who. Also known as Tom Baker.
That's right.
Also known as Cranky Old Man.
And Carissa, if you point up with your left hand.
Left hand.
Right there, we'll put a card, and we've got the Mother 32 unboxing. We just unboxed your.
Okay, yeah.
We unboxed Tom's new Moog synthesizer.
Oh, nice.
Now he's got two of them, and we racked them up, and it took forever, and we fast forwarded through it a little bit. Not doing as well as the Volca Kick one.
Oh well.
I just imagine more people are searching for Volca Kick than Mother 32.
It's newer.
How long has the Mother 32 been out?
Over a year.
Is it polyphonic or?
No.
Yeah.
It's a monophonic, semi-modular system.
Okay.
Yeah, the new factor of the Mother 32 has been worn off for a while.
Oh, maybe that's what that.
Yeah.
Well, it was fun. We had a good time. So check out that video, and thumbs up that one. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And then also point up one more time. We'll do a second card. That'll be for the Jazz Destroyers. Tom is part of the core members of the Jazz Destroyers. You've been on most of the Freeform Fridays.
And you just like making her point up.
Well, whoever's in that seat, that's their job.
Point up duties.
Oh.
This is the official pointing seat.
Cue where I'm going to put the cards.
All right.
Because then when I go back and I scan through the video, then I can see where the heck I need to put the cards. So you play bass and guitar, and we're gonna do a fun thing that'll come out a little later, which is you just bought a new amplifier.
Yes.
A Supro.
That I may or may not keep.
Right. So we're gonna shoot it out, and we'll have some fun. But you play bass, you play guitar. What don't you play?
I actually don't play clarinet at all. Like I really can't play a clarinet. Like I can play saxophone. Not clarinet.
Isn't it the same fingerings?
It's a little bit different.
At least on the lower half.
Playing
right?
across the break's different.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Is the embouchure different at all?
yeah, it is actually.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Gotta angle it differently.
It's actually a little easier to pick up flute. That's like so many flute sax doublers. So, don't you want to talk about the hat?
Yeah. What is the hat?
It's a turkey hat.
It's a turkey. It's
a turkey.
Kind of looks like a lobster.
No,
a little bit.
It's a turkey. A lobster would be fine. I really don't care. It's part of my ongoing effort to have my face between a pair of thighs at all times.
Oh, jeez.
There we go.
This, we try to make this a family show, so we don't swear.
And I just didn't swear.
That's right.
And no innuendos.
No, I guess
No,
we're not with him. We're not going to be able to avoid the innuendo. So that's who the bleep we are, and tell a friend about who the bleep we are and what we're doing here. So share the video too. What's next? Section 2.
Yes.
Our news and notes, our tids and bits, or what I call, do you give a bleep?
Yes, and unfortunately, this week just sucks.
Every week just sucks. So this is where we compile how many news stories?
5.
5. And we release these individually on Mondays.
Yes.
So Monday's our news dump.
Good deal.
And, yeah, let's get started. What's the first one?
First one. Groups of U.S. military veterans are descending on the Standing Rock oil pipeline protest, vowing to act as human shields between the water protectors and the law enforcement. By Sunday evening, between 2,000 and 2,500 veterans are expected to be present at the camp.
That's right. Lee Camp's going up there. The Young Turks, Jordan, whose last name I don't remember, he's going up there. And Wes Clark Jr. is going up there.
Yeah.
So on behalf of the protesters?
They're going to go be a human shield.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're going to go insert themselves between the police and the water protectors.
Yeah.
Because it looks really, really bad if the police shoot at U.S. veterans with rubber bullets and water cannons in freezing weather.
Hey, whatever angle you can bring forth.
And then also imagine how many of these Pinkertons up there, these police that are basically operating as the strong arm for these transnational corporations. How many of them are also veterans?
Oh, probably a good number.
Probably a good number.
Yeah.
And so if they get up there and there's 2,000 of guys they truly identify with, maybe they will realize the folly of their ways.
Strike a chord with them, yeah.
Right. And
Definitely.
these people have a right to their peaceful protest.
No, for sure.
Right.
There is no right for the state to be shooting cold water on them in the middle of winter in North Dakota.
Right.
So call the North Dakota governor's office, call your legislature, call your congressman, call the White House, call everybody, and demand that somebody take some action and fix this, because these are human rights violations. And last week we talked about Fidel Castro dying. America is just as has earned every ounce of criticism over our human rights violations. We can do better.
We can.
So I give a bleep. Cole, do you give a bleep about this one?
I give a bleep.
Tom, you give a bleep?
I give a bleep, but only to the point where I'll go.
So you give like half a bleep.
I have half a
It's a
bleep.
soft bleep.
Go get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You give a bleep on principle, but
Yeah. I give a bleep on principle.
there you go. Darling, you give a bleep?
I give a bleep because, these are people that went out and fought wars and various other skirmishes and absolutely horrid conditions in various places of the globe, and now they're going up in a North Dakota winter.
Well, and they took an oath to protect our nation against
Yes.
all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That's right.
And
That's
domestic. And I may be pretty leftist, right? But even I will tell you, any progress attained through tyranny is not progress.
Though you could make the argument that the wars they fought in the Arab countries were to protect oil interests, and now they're just flip-flopping on their position.
That's
Yeah.
listen, that's a valid criticism, but it would be more like they were trained to go over and protect the oil, realized what they were doing was wrong,
Right.
but they had a duty to the military to finish that
They're
job.
deployed either way.
And then
Yeah.
once they got back, they're like, I will never go back over there. And now they have a chance to right their sins.
I have zero problems with people flip-flopping on their position, by the way.
Yeah, me too. All right, what's next?
Next. Is Alex Jones an acid house musician? Apparently this week, or a week ago,
Who's Alex Jones?
Who's Alex Jones?
Alex Jones, the
I have the documents.
crazy
The
conspiracy
Illuminati's
theory.
watching you. You don't listen to AM
Right-wing-
radio? He's here. He's an Austin guy.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
he's-
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He's freaking nuts. But he went off on this rant, as
He's
he is
great.
prone to do, on Hillary Clinton and oil
I didn't watch the
oil
video.
pipeline protesters. It was the same stuff he rants about.
It's all a
in
false flag operation.
Every other video.
He rants about like the New World Order.
The whole thing.
things-
Yeah. All the way down.
There was nothing special about this video in terms of that content.
No.
But what makes the video notable is
Denver
what you
Airport.
can see in the background, which is two Pioneer CDJs and a pair of powered studio monitors.
Oh, there's more than that.
In the opening shot, you can see a large mixer, a Roland TR-808 drum machine, and what appears to be a trio of TB-303 bassline synthesizers, which are key pieces of gear in the acid house sound.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I love how you read that. That was hilarious.
What?
Key pieces of gear in the acid house. It's
So he's purported to be acid house, but he denies, and then you
If
see.
you're gonna mock me,
so what I find funny is I got hip to this through Synth Memes, which is a closed Facebook group, but word up to my Synth Memes peeps. And so he's got this studio, much as I do.
Right.
And he's got a bunch of synthesizers, much as I do. Though I don't have any 303s. They're a fortune. So clearly he's selling quite a few water filtration systems.
yes.
But we're all speculating as to what his music actually sounds like.
Right. He hasn't released it online or anything?
We don't
No.
know.
Yeah, nobody knows. But it's
Maybe he has
blown
a-
up everywhere.
It would
An alias.
It would almost guaranteed be an alias.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So we
Kind of a ghostwriter for musicians,
right. So
Yeah.
you might be jamming in the club to Alex Jones's fat
Possibly.
beats.
Possibly.
But ironically, I don't give a bleep. Like, I'll never release anything made by Alex Jones through Get Off My Lawn Records. If he's not promoting it, right, then I'll never hear it.
Right.
So I
I
don't
guess
give a bleep. Do you give a bleep, Tom?
I don't even know who he is. Still. to
Hey,
this
get
day.
your claws.
I guess I don't give a bleep. I could understand if like you have some notoriety attached to your name. You'd like to have that be transparent and people not actually assume like, upon hearing your music, oh, it's Alex Jones. We'd like to hear it with a clean slate.
Sure.
But no, I don't really know much about it, so I don't give a bleep.
Well, and I mean, I enjoy Acid House a little bit, but
Yeah, it's
a
cool.
lot of that stuff becomes very monotonous.
Oh,
There's a very
definitely.
fine line.
Definitely.
I mean, what he does at his own time.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
true.
Yeah.
Let him rant about the government and make bleepy bloopy noises.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. The more he's making bleepy bloopy noises, the less he's ranting about the government.
Yeah, so
there
we should
you
all
go.
go buy
Touche.
Alex
So
he
Jones's
should go make more
albums.
Get him out of there. Yeah. You make music for us.
Darling, do you give a bleep?
I'm torn on this one because I don't care for his politics. I don't care for his rants. I disagree with pretty much every word that comes out of his mouth. But
He's
him
a
being
musician.
an acid house musician would make him this much cooler, and that bothers me.
Fair enough. Cole, I don't think I asked you. Do you give a bleep?
I don't give a bleep.
Fair enough. All right, so leave me a comment. Let me know leave me a video link of what you think his music sounds like. That'll be a lot of fun. Like, leave a comment with the video.
It's just a monologue.
This is
a
a
mom.
family show.
And yeah.
And
All
on
right.
that note,
What's next? Number 3.
Nestle claims to have found a way to reduce the sugar content of its chocolate by as much as 40% while not losing any sweetness.
Using
They have
Splenda.
found a
Really?
way.
We're going to talk about that and not the fact that Nestle is buying 800,000 gallons of water from
Oh no,
Michigan?
they found a way of hollowing out the sugar particles, which causes the sugar to dissolve faster to deliver a sweet sensation more quickly than traditional sugar. And they claim it uses only natural ingredients and the final product is still sugar. The problem I have with this,
Don't mess with your chocolate.
well, one, don't mess with my chocolate. 2 is one of the first things you learn in chemistry is if you change the molecule, it's not going to react the same way.
It's true.
And if you
Nestle's going to kill us all.
take like a nutrition class, you learn that the shape of the molecule causes it to interact with your body differently.
It's going to give us cancer.
So, this very well may kill us all.
Though, correct me if I'm wrong.
It's like
what you
iPhone
read-
radio waves.
What you read actually said nothing about the hollowing out the molecule, did it?
No.
That's the reason I'm asking is because
It's they're hollowing out the structure of the crystal, right?
Right, but that's
But the way the crystal is formed is by the molecular structure.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it
So
sounds.
its molecular weight is smaller, so it won't be as much caloric content.
I'd have to
I
know
don't
more
know.
about the process. I suspect
Yeah,
that what they're
and
doing
they're
is
not-
the equivalent of creating more surface area.
Maybe, but that's
It's
gonna
sort of like-
change
It's the same
it.
taste, but it's
You
It's
know,
sort of like
you're,
when you
you're
grind
changing the
up
way that
salt.
molecules interact with each other. Then, so
Are you if you're doing it at a physical level? Are you at the molecular level? I don't think you are. I feel like that would require a different process than something you're going to automate. So I feel like what they're actually doing, I'd have to know more.
yeah. See, the thing is,
I'll
I mean,
research for
when-
sure.
So leave a comment, right? Let's look into it. Let's delve into the science behind this.
Well, they're not releasing any of it yet until they get the
Oh,
patents.
because it's proprietary. Screw
But,
everything.
you know,
Nestle.
Crunch or
When
crackle?
you-
Oh, hello, Studio
when you're
Cat.
making chocolate, when you add the sugar, you're dissolving the sugar, which would automatically break up the.
I mean, this
the
is chocolate made in
particles.
America. Is it chocolate?
Oh,
I'm a Ghirardelli man myself.
I love American chocolate. The Hershey.
It's mostly wax. You know that, right?
Listen, it's
I get the super dark stuff. So
it's an American tradition, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm an American.
Mr. Goodbar is good.
Mr. Good bars are delicious. My favorite are Take Fives.
Oh yes.
But I am a jazz musician, so
yes.
There
if
you
anybody
go.
puts that
Oh,
together,
I've got it.
oh, there you
I'm
go.
not really a chocolate person.
You're not really an anything person. One day I will find out the things you
No,
like.
there are some things that he is definitely a particular person. But
That's true. I'm a hot
we
sauce
don't.
person.
No, that's true. We're not going to talk about that on
Yeah.
this.
But I'm a hot sauce person. I'm very definitely a hot sauce
What's your
person.
favorite hot sauce?
It depends on the application.
We should give a
So,
shout out
Mexican
to
food.
Tears of Joy.
Yes.
Typically, I go with Marie Sharp stuff for the Belizean type thing. Tabasco's good for some stuff, but it's not really hot.
It really is.
Yeah.
Cholula's good for some stuff.
Love Cholula.
It's not really hot. And then you get off into the esoteric shit.
Which I don't really know
Stuff.
much about, but
Ghost pepper.
Not even ghost pepper. I think it's more of a thing like
I like
oh,
habaneros more than ghost pepper.
So even if
I
you're
don't know
talking
if I've
about,
ever had
but even if you're
habanero.
talking about a ghost pepper, I mean, realistically, everything is then a genetic variant off of habanero. So
sure.
I mean, they always go, "Oh, it's the ghost pepper. It's from blah blah blah, India, where it was farted on by a cobra." No, it wasn't. It was just bred to be a little bit hotter
That adds to
version
the brand.
of an
A lot hotter.
existing. I mean,
orders of magnitude high.
yeah, but the orders at that point, some of these peppers are in the range.
Where your body just won't even tell the difference.
No, where they by law really have to be considered by the FDA anyway as food additives.
Yeah.
I mean, once you're past a certain point, it's an additive. It's no longer a food because it's dangerous.
That's
Yeah.
because have
If you
eaten
ate it by
in-
itself.
in
Yeah.
large quantities?
So it's that's a whole and a lot of these pepper extracts that are super hot that people use like when they're boiling turkeys or something Thanksgiving. Those they're not hot sauces. They're not hot sauces. They're
About
they're
fry a turkey.
food additives, and they have to be handled with specialty equipment, and it's just not the same. And once you get past regular habanero, you're getting into
What's the one I had this morning? Is it August in Austin?
Yes.
Yeah, Tears of Joy. Down on 6th Street. It's a store full of hot sauces.
Really?
All hot sauce. They have a whole store. They make hot sauces there. I like their house brands. And
They do salsas. They do
yeah.
even powdered spices,
They-
like the powdered fire that I
What-
put on your breakfast sandwiches
Oh
every
yeah,
morning.
the powdered fire is good. They do it's no longer called, is it called the Sword now?
I think so.
That's their ghost pepper sauce.
Are
It's the
ghost
Sword.
peppers and ghost chilies the same thing, or are they different?
they're the same thing.
Okay.
And,
it's different
uh,
nomenclature.
But August and Austin is it's like one step back from that. It's a little more flavor.
What's the name of the shop again?
Tears of Joy.
Tears of Joy.
Yep.
Got it.
They're great.
Cool.
So shout out to them. I don't give a bleep about Nestle, except I give a bleep about Nestle and what they're doing in Michigan. How is it that Flint still has lead in their water, but Nestle's going to come in and buy municipal water?
Well, they
gonna
did the
take
same
up the
thing in
mon-
California too. Remember?
Yeah,
and
they
I want
did.
to say a couple other states.
They did. Nestle is a company. There's a couple of very interesting documentaries on Netflix about it. The what they do with water globally that company is they're the ones who really push the privatization of water systems globally. And yeah, they're just awful.
Yeah.
So
Note taken.
yeah, so like that's why I like Hershey stuff. They're less awful. Though admittedly, almost all chocolate that we consume in America, somebody was enslaved to bring us that chocolate.
Probably.
So just remember that next time you
I
have
like
that
French
rule.
chocolate.
Well,
Chocolat noir, they call it.
it has more to do with the way they harvest the cacao plant. That's where all the human rights violations go on. It's
I would think
it's way
so.
down at the bottom of that ladder.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
What's next is our death for the week.
Who now?
Alice Drummond.
Who?
She was a character actor. She starred in several CBS soap operas and performed regularly on Broadway.
I love characters.
Which soap operas?
Working class.
As the World Turns, and I think there were a couple others.
Huh. Because now the name's ringing a bell, but
You would know her best probably as the librarian at the beginning of Ghostbusters.
no.
She
Like
was
the
also,
original Ghostbusters
Yeah.
or the horrible remake?
the original Ghostbusters.
The remake wasn't
We
that bad.
must
We're being
clarify.
sexist.
She was
Yes.
also in.
It was bad.
She was also one of the patients in Awakenings.
Oh, nice. Yeah, great.
She was Mrs. Finkel in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
They filmed that on a ranch I went to, actually.
She's
in Honda.
been
So
in
it's
a
been in quite a bit of
lot of
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
How old was she?
88.
88.
I've heard her name before.
So I give a bleep. We've set a standard that if you recognize the name or you remember the person, you give a bleep, and if you don't, then you don't.
I'll go for half a bleep.
Half a bleep.
It's about as much as I'm going to give about anything.
Yeah. That's
Except for Ghostbusters, the remake not being good, because my stepdaughter and I watched it. And
Tom, the
we're just
social
like,
justice warriors are going to come out of the woodwork.
I don't
after you.
care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. We watched it, and she's 15, and she's like, that was not funny. She
I
and
didn't
she had
like
seen
any of
she had
that.
seen the original, and she was like, that was not good.
Did she like the original?
Yeah,
The original's great.
I know. And the remake is
I haven't even seen it.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet.
it's made for a different generation, so it's
Kind of like
there
Star Wars.
is no build up to the gags. It's just
Oh, it's the YouTube thing.
you know, and you really, if you're not used to that, or if you stopped watching movies,
A lot of referential humor.
there's a lot of physical humor, but I mean, it
Slapstick,
doesn't
yeah.
give you any time to decompress from the last gag. And after 15 minutes of that, you're just like, this is the shit ever.
The cadence is
It's
there's no
painful.
cadence to it.
It's like a maximized record, right?
Yeah.
You need a
just
good,
can't.
yeah,
So
rhythm.
call me sexist. I don't care. It wasn't a good movie.
There's lots of good movies full with casts full of women.
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that just wasn't one of them.
That just wasn't one of them. Cool, you give a bleep?
I do. I like character actors. They're the working class of American film industry.
That's true.
So I love Burt Young from Rocky. You ever heard
Though I
of
would
Burt
say
Young?
the working class of the American film industry are the extras.
That too, definitely.
The extras are,
Pretty much the whole film industry, everyone's a working class. It's
yeah.
pretty busy, hardworking.
Except for the executives, the director, and the
Yeah,
producers.
the people on top. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how that goes with everything.
Once you get the name, it's downhill from there.
Well, in the right movie, they can create really memorable roles too, right? So, I mean, like, think about Joe Turkel in Blade Runner.
Sure.
Oh yes.
You know, he's a
Uh,
character actor, did tons of stuff like that, but there's some places
Awesome.
in some films,
May his
versus,
face
like,
rest in peace after Rutger got to him.
you know.
Yeah. Or Gary Oldman in anything.
He's great. But we
And
could
I
have
would
a
argue
whole.
Daniel Day-Lewis is a character actor. Because he's
Um,
chameleon.
Right. The definition really of a character actor is someone who kind of plays a specific type of person. Like Burt Young is like your burly working class like Philadelphia man in Rocky.
Okay.
You know, he works at the meatpacking plant. He's like, pugnacious. But yeah, I can definitely see Daniel Day if he was in a smaller role playing something
He'll
like
never
that.
be in a smaller role.
Right. So I
He
wouldn't.
researches.
I'll say I wouldn't classify him as a character actor. Everyone's entitled to how they see things.
Well, what's the
but
other one? Personality actor. Right?
Yeah.
Leading man or leading lady.
See, personality actors are like
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston,
To
where
me,
Right.
That's
where you write the
definition.
movie around Jennifer Aniston.
That's true, and it's
Because
different.
Jennifer Aniston is not going to play the heroin addict very well.
Yes, definitely. You kind of your own persona transcends your role.
Wow.
It's a weird thing, actually.
Brad Pitt suffers from that, but he's such a great actor. Same with Leo DiCaprio.
Yes.
They're good actors at
I
the
think
technical level.
Leo's escaped Jack finally. He was working hard to get past that, and he got his Oscar. It took getting inside a bear to take it, but
He was great in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
I still need to watch that. I've heard that's a classic.
It
Yeah.
was filmed here in Manor.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that little grocery store is still there.
You know what else was filmed here in Manor?
What?
Roadies. With Meatloaf.
I bet there's a lot of stuff that's
Really?
been filmed in Manor.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's been a couple other things.
Well, the whole Austin area, you got office
There-
space.
there's not
and
that many
everything.
hotels, Tom.
I'd say it was in a hotel.
Okay. Roadies, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have that one in the
I don't
library.
know if we might.
We'll have to look. All right, what's next?
Everybody's favorite, and I use that term loosely, news organization, Breitbart is calling for a boycott of Kellogg's products after the cereal maker pulled its advertising from their website.
Hey, so I want to go buy some Frosted Flakes right now.
Frosted Flakes
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
Special
belong.
K and Corn Pops and
Who are Breitbox?
Breitbart?
Or whatever you're talking about.
Breitbart
The-
is the alt-right news organization.
Call them what they are. White supremacists.
Their local news?
Neo-Nazi. Breitbart? No, it's a
No.
website.
Oh, okay.
I'm not familiar. But
Yeah.
Oh, lucky you.
That's why we're friends.
Oh.
Like,
not worth
Breitbart is where that is the racist part of the internet.
That's a lot of internet. But anyway,
Yes. But
Neat.
They're the biggest conservative leaning website.
But
out
they're not
there.
conservative like in a Fox News
Right.
sense. They're conservative in like deport all the illegal immigrants.
They're like the
And-
antithesis to the
Immediate.
Guardian.
Yeah.
And climate
exactly.
change is a hoax, and yeah.
And their former head is now the chief strategist for the Donald Trump transition team. Isn't that
Really?
great? Isn't that tremendous?
That is tremendous.
Don't you feel good about our government?
No comment.
You know, Tom's a little older than me. Tom grew up knowing to not trust the government because Tom remembers Reagan.
Tom grew up in politics, so
That's true. You know way more about it than any of us.
I do, and it's
Do you want to talk about it or not?
sadly these things have to be ultimately self-correcting. I know everyone gets upset.
Got to break a few eggs, is what you're saying?
I'm saying that the pendulum swings one way and then it swings the other, and then when it hits critical mass back on this way, it will swing back. That being said, for whatever reason, social media, the internet, people not finishing high school, the whole thing tends to be drift, and it could be straight up money thing, right? But the whole thing seems to be constantly drifting to the right. And I suspect that it's a combination of economics and education that are going to keep the country on a path to more conservative, and not just conservative, but more like neoconservative with a religious base, which is, you know,
Though
they're so wrapped up in, you know, staring at one of these all day and a computer screen and then talking back and forth on Facebook or whatever. So that really the critical thinking is gone. And you have to put effort into that. And the less effort people want to put into that,
People react
the
emotionally.
more
Yeah.
likely
these
they
damn kids need to get off.
the more likely they are to be susceptible to I don't want to say hate speech, but I want to say that sort of reactionary speech that's very unilateral.
Emotional response.
They get
Yeah.
these very visceral responses and they
Yes.
just commit. So
Definitely.
it's, you know, and I hate to say it because I really believe that at its core, this country is supposed to be a secular country, but I don't feel like that's the path it's on. And
Regal cat.
It's disappointing.
Yeah.
I
Now,
agree.
There's,
Not enough critical thinking.
well, I see part of the problem, you know, just part, not all of it, as, you know, you get the religious factions that are leaning more and more towards homeschooling. And
because
Because
they
they don't-
believe the schools are just indoctrination machines.
Right, but what's happening
Don't knock
is
it
they're
down.
basically teaching their kids to not think for themselves, to just think, the kid's opinion is going to be whatever the parent's opinion is. End of
Needs to
story.
be tested.
And, you're ending up with a generation of people who are basically just doing what they're told.
What does that mean? It needs to be tested, Cole. What was that?
I
It's
think
like half a thought. You should elaborate.
so. Yeah, like you guys are saying, growing up in a bubble, kind of not having any other reference point, other than your parents. I think it's good to kind of branch out and discover other points of view, and formulate that in your own worldview. And I think, in the end, once you've met enough people, you will begin to have a better grasp on reality as it pertains to the lives of others, which...
That's an interesting point. Did you know that people who do not live in the town they grew up in tend to skew liberal, and people who live in the town they grew up in tend to skew conservative?
Oh, I totally...
It's not really shocking.
yeah,
I know it's not shocking, but like
It's not.
They've actually tested it. It turns out to be true.
it's a great observation.
It's that thing. You get away from your comfort zone. You meet new people, and it
Yes.
broadens your viewpoint.
Definitely.
That's what I love about being a musician, right? Like one night I'm playing with oud players from the Middle East.
Hmm. It's a lot of it is with music too, actually.
What's surprising,
forever on
actually,
that.
and I've thought about this a little bit because
Because you've been around.
no, and because occasionally, even though at my advanced age, the topic of having children has come up, and one of the things I've concluded is I prefer to live in a more rural environment if that's the case. Really,
You would
Oh.
rather not have the interaction.
rather not have the interaction. It's a different. I feel like living in
Town. Let's just
town. Let's just call it town, but in a city-esque type environment, that there's so much information coming at you at once that you have a tendency not to really examine it closely because it's one thing after another, right? It's a great deal of stuff. Towns give you, small towns give you space.
A little bit, though, with the internet, everybody's got their phones now.
Yeah, you know what? As a parent, you can control that. You can
Right.
basically say, guess what? I'm giving you a phone that dials two numbers, 911 and me.
Right, but I mean, there's only a matter of time with a kid before...
A lot of it's self-discipline too.
A lot of it's
A
self-discipline.
lot of
of it.
people are getting like these stimuli, and like if you don't have self-discipline, you can get carried away and be like, oh, this is so great.
Also, I feel like the amount of time that you can keep children away from technology, the longer, absolutely the better, period.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
I'm not sure I agree, but okay.
for everyone who sits there and goes, oh, kids need to be tech savvy to be competitive in the global economy, I also disagree heavily. And the reason I disagree is because I am an IT manager. I did not have technology growing up. I grew up in a town of 15,000 people, and we socialized by riding our bikes. And I did math with a pencil and paper.
You say this like I didn't.
I know, but I'm just trying to say...
This is what I love. Is
The thing
he
is-
does this to me all the time. We're in the band together, right? We're in the Jazz Destroyers.
The thing
Not
is,
necessarily directed.
did that lack of exposure to technology somehow make it so I couldn't have a career in information technology?
Yeah, but here's the flip side. So I remember when I bought my e-cig, the kid at the counter, he was a little younger than me, right? But he wasn't like 18. He would have been in his mid-20s.
Hmm.
And he's behind the counter, and I'm just an outgoing guy, so I talk to everybody. And he says to me, yeah, I didn't touch my first computer until 2007, proudly.
Some contempt almost.
And the thought that went through my head was, that is not something I would brag about, right? There's a little bit of both, though.
There's a happy medium.
I will say this,
Yeah.
my hand-eye coordination is directly related to how many video games I played as a kid. I played a lot of video games as a kid, and then when I got onto the tennis court, I had the reflexes for it.
That's good. No, that's something good that came out of it. I mean, like even playing an instrument too, like typing and stuff. I mean, your dexterity's great.
Right, having the skill to type until keyboards go away, that will still be a skill that'll be highly valuable. But I agree, you don't have to teach that when they're like 3. You teach that when they're like.
I just think
No,
there are so many
definitely.
other ways to learn those skills.
No,
Well,
definitely.
you don't even have to teach kids. I mean,
I think
you
writing-
hand-
Yeah, they
you hand
learn.
a kid any piece of technology. You
they
know,
will figure it out.
They'll figure it out.
They will.
You know?
Or they won't. And
I mean-
that's the interesting thing. The kids that won't, that's the part we need to that's the thing we need to instill in our children, because as the economy changes, the people, like Tom was saying, some people will do great as the economy changes,
Mm-hmm.
and some will get left behind. The people who get left behind are the ones who look at new technology and go, nope, I'm not going to learn it. Nope.
You have to adapt to a certain
have to
extent.
adapt.
Of course.
But some people inherently do adapt. They will grab a piece of technology and go, oh, I know how to work this. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, somebody has to explain them. Being the studio guy that I am, right, I'm the guy who figured out how to make all this come together. I'm
Definitely.
basically self-taught as
That's
an
being
engineer.
tech savvy, and I mean that's good.
Right.
From my yeah.
But I will tell you, over the years, if I had no integrity, I could probably go around from home studio to home studio consulting and teaching everybody else how to work their gear, and then build them some presets and be like, yeah, this is all you do. You just put this on and push some buttons and you're done. Woohoo! Go make a record. But that's not how they're made.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like you'd have to teach them how to place a microphone. It's not like you can just have an EQ preset that will fix their bad microphone placement. And
Right.
let's be honest, if you set it up for them, the first time the dog runs into it, it's screwed up when they come back.
Can you fix it? Yeah.
So I've
I'm just going to back up on that, which to say is if they really, really need to be taught all that more than one time, whatever idea they're trying to get out probably isn't, one, that strong of an idea, and two, probably they're going to get tired of it pretty quick and just move on their merry way.
right. That's true. Though the point I'm trying to make though is that you have. Well, I've come to realize there are two types of people in the world. There are those that are naturally intellectually curious.
And worker bees. Sorry, man.
I mean,
Great foil.
it's an interesting. I wouldn't put it that way, but I understand what you're trying to say. You know what I mean? There's people who they just want to go work their job and come home, drink a beer, watch the game, and listen. I love those people to death, right? Because guess who buys records? Everybody buys records, but there's a lot of those people. But we have to figure out in this country, as automation comes in and kills the kind of jobs where you can just go and do it pretty thoughtlessly. You know, if you're going to go do a repetitive task all day long, those jobs will go away. So
Pour the seal ball.
so how do we help those people that aren't intellectually curious become intellectually curious? Because that's the only way we'll be able to fix any of this.
Yeah,
I
those-
don't think that's a thing. I think that's a little bit of something buried in your genes. I don't
It's
think
a
you
hard-
can,
it's a hard
I don't think you
issue.
can drag them kicking and screaming. And I have lived in Appalachia, and I'm just gonna like run roughshod over these people here. But let me just say this: they're mean. A lot of them. I mean, I get it. They work in the coal mines and all this other kind of stuff, and they feel like they have no out. But most of them won't go searching for an out
Right.
either. And for
You're
those,
describing exactly what I'm describing.
right? But I have very little sympathy for that.
I have
Whereas
some
you,
sympathy.
whereas you're like, we need to help them. I'm like, we need to let them just do their job and be disenfranchised.
Yeah, but when the job goes away due to automation, that's the problem.
But they're not going to
See-
leave. They're just going to stay there and starve.
That's
I
the problem.
think part of it is that intellectual curiosity is inherent. It's the lack of it that's taught.
By
have a-
maybe
Because
neglect, possibly.
Neglect,
No, but you're right.
deliberate methods, deliberate parenting methods, deliberate actions by teachers at some point along the line.
and religious
Well,
organizations.
the
Don't
South
think
has
about
a
it
culture. I mean, the South
Exactly.
has a culture of discouraging that because it's sort of like, stick to studying your Bible
Southern pride. Stuck
don't ask questions. Your manager knows everything. You don't need to ask questions, and that's a big Southern thing. Actually, it's very.
It's
dates back to the plantation.
No, that's exactly it. It's a very it harkens back to the day of plantations, which is
almost.
This is the power structure. Know your place.
The good son.
Stay in your place.
Yes.
And even in today's workplace in like Kentucky and Tennessee, if you're not a manager, you're not entitled to have an opinion on anything. And that's kind of, and that's even within departments like engineering that are otherwise well educated. It's kind of like, I'm the manager. You are going to do what I say because I'm the manager. I don't care that you have a master's or a PhD.
Yeah, even engineers aren't autonomous.
So it is a big cultural thing. But the thing is, and this may be a hot button with you guys, evolution.
Oh, triggered.
If you, what happens when you reinforce a characteristic over time?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's and
Pavlov.
just saying.
Not Pavlov. He's talking about on an
I'm talking about on an evolutionary scale. If you encourage
Pavlovian scales.
Yeah, that's
if you encourage
Classical
one segment of the
conditioning,
population to be non-curious over time through generations, it will become encoded in them to be non-curious. They will.
But even in those families, I've never met.
Well, that's randomization,
a
right? There's
baby
always a chance
that's
that
not
you'll get
at least kind of curious about the world around them.
Oh, sure.
You know,
Break away, move to
granted,
Rhode Island.
depending on how bad the situation is, maybe by the time they're a toddler, they're not so curious. A lot of people, that curiosity kind of drops off somewhere around the teen years.
At the time you get your first job.
She's waiting
Well,
tables in a
by the
diner
time-
trying to make her own niche. I
By the
ain't going
time
back
you've
to-
reached,
That's a whole different part of developmental
school.
psychology, though.
Yeah.
and you get that, you get to the point where either you're told you're not smart enough, so you're never going to be anything, so just stop trying, or just there's like a whole cornucopia of just things that could go wrong to make you lose that curiosity.
We'll never fully know.
That's true. But the curiosity of an infant is different from the curiosity of an adolescent too, which
But
is
Adult.
But it's all the same intellectual curiosity. It's like you're exploring the world around you, whether you're doing that through books or through the internet or through just sitting there in a high chair staring at the world.
It sort of
you're
is, but-
still exploring the world around you.
Yes.
I mean, it sort of is.
Circumstances.
On the other hand, you can make the case for especially infants that much of their exploring the world around them is typically driven by hunger, like actual physical hunger. Where, I mean, what is driving you to explore that environment? There's a lot of new
disagree or agree.
sensations, and depending on, it's sort of like children who have a lot of parental interaction very early. Like in the first 6 months to a year, seem to retain a lot of that, right? Whereas if they're left alone to their own devices and only attended to when they're hungry or when they need a change, it drops off really fast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but again, if you have a group of people who, over time, enough conditioning, anything can be encoded, basically. I mean, it's a survival thing.
But it's also a survival thing to be curious, too.
Are we still on the news?
I don't know.
Yes.
All right.
What was the subject now?
Subject was
Listen.
Kellogg's. We're supporting Kellogg's.
Stay curious.
There we go.
Stay curious. All right.
That's the
And
theme.
talk to your children.
So they don't become Morlocks.
Yeah, exactly. All right. What's next? The pitfalls of self-producing. So this section was originally, what the bleep have you done for the label?
Spread the word.
Tom has actually done quite a bit for the label. You brought over your Supro. We're going to do an unboxing video. So you schlepped about 100 pounds of gear over to my house. So that's kind of cool. What the bleep have you done for the label this week?
I've been spreading the word, telling my buds.
There you go.
Jazz Destroyers, get off my lawn.
There you
Place
go.
to be.
Carissa,
I showed up here and I kept you from dying last weekend. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
I'm.
you did a lot. To give you guys the quick updates, I've compiled and I've begun mastering the Best of Freeform Fridays 2016. So that'll be coming out
Yes,
probably January.
because you forgot to hit save.
Well, they're compiled. I'd actually worked on mastering it. I have a QA. I did save the output of it, But if I need to make any changes, I need to start over.
Okay.
There's that. We've been. I finished editing all of the Freeform Fridays 2017 or 16. Sorry, 2016. I'm already thinking about 2017. So I've finished editing all of the videos for the year. So I've got like this weird lull, because usually like 3-4 nights out of the week I spend editing video for YouTube.
Yeah.
It's called Christmas shopping, dear.
I'm halfway done with that already.
That's a little bit funny.
That's a breeze. And so we got that going. I think next weekend we're doing that session for Andrea.
Is that confirmed?
I gotta confirm
I was
that.
gonna say that wasn't on the calendar yet.
But yeah, we there's a lot. We worked on the website a bit.
Sorry, that's me.
Yeah, that needs to go on mute. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing for the label this week. So let's talk. But instead, that's not an interesting clip. So
No.
let's talk about the pitfalls of self-producing. So Tom has self-produced a few albums. I certainly have, and I've produced for other people, as have you. Cole, you ever self-produce?
Well, I did demos with friends over the years. It wasn't anything like of a major production.
All right, so nothing like no final release.
No.
Okay.
And I've known more self-producers than I can count.
Right, and with self-producers, you can totally Pro Tools stuff to death.
That is definitely a possibility.
That is the first pitfall.
That was
It's
never an option for me.
not for Tom, because Tom came up in the tape era.
I've got an album I can let you listen to that has been done that way, and it's like,
I
no.
worked with Reason before.
Yeah, I did an album on Reason called 2006 and Beyond.
No, that was on Reason, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did that almost entirely in Reason, though I used Absinthe for one. Like some of the tracks were done with Reason, some of them were done with what rig I had in college, which was still. There's a lot of it still here, you know.
Man.
But my first, we were explaining this to Cole in the beginning or before the show. My first recording experiences would have been probably 1996, 97, 98, probably somewhere between 95 and 98. I would have been a freshman. It probably would have been 98. I would have been a freshman in high school is when I worked on my first record.
My first recording experiences, you mean where I actually made like a demo?
Well, so for
Would have
me,
been-
my whole life, I didn't really know, because I did this all in a bubble, right? I got my hands on some software. I've been playing with MIDI since middle school, and I've been like figuring out how to work
Yeah, I would always make MIDI demos.
MIDI stuff.
Yeah.
And then in high school, once I got Music Maker from eMagix, or Magix, sorry, that's what it was, Magix Music Maker, and it was a multi-track DAW for Windows 95. And I actually, this is the result of it right here. I never released New Train of Thought, but I should probably, you know what I'll do? I'll put that track up.
And that's all you?
Yeah, this would all be me. This is 2002. I finished this record.
Nice.
So I'll put the title track of this up because it's actually kind of cool. But I would do these things where I would like overdub 4 guitars and write these intricate harmony parts, and it's kind of what got me started. But I never knew that like a demo. I had no concept as to how music got made. I heard music, and then I got this thing that I could make music. So I just tried to make music. I didn't realize that there were like demos
It's all
and take that to a
organic.
studio. I was just like, oh, okay, so the stuff on the radio, they must have been using things like this, though they had
Kind
real
of the protocol of it, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm that first generation of that, where you were very aware of the whole process.
I went into a commercial facility for the first time in 1984.
Right, I was
So-
one.
I was 14.
Hmm.
So that was interesting. 8-track. I don't remember what tape machine it was. I'm going to
But it
guess.
was a tape machine.
It was 1984.
Right. I'm working this through, so it would have been like a half-inch machine.
That was a 1-inch.
It was a 1-inch, probably 8-track.
1-inch 8-track, yeah.
And how many reels did you get to fill up?
Well, we were in there as a band, so it was a 5-piece band, 2 guitars, keyboard, bass,
I'm sure you guys rocked.
drums, and a very perky, chesty female singer.
What kind of rock
It's
band?
called the Sexists.
No, it was actually called Have Mercy, and we were a cover band. We recorded a cover of Dirty White Boy,
Oh my god.
Hit Me With Your Best Shot,
Oh, even better.
Some Pat.
Goodbye to You.
Oh, do you still have
And
these exist?
They do still exist. I need to get a copy of them when I'm in Kentucky because
Yes, well,
it's
what format would they exist on?
I think actually my friend David who runs the studio up there has actually digitized at some point, but they're still around on cassette.
Yeah, we
So-
should. By the way, we've been talking about this. I want to get in touch with David. Let's have David on the podcast.
So yeah, but we did it. It was, and the owner of the studio was also the art teacher at our high school.
Ironically, I remember my high school chemistry teacher had a radio show,
That's cool.
and he was the only guy I knew who he said, "Yeah, we use Pro Tools." And I didn't know what Pro Tools was, but it was
What year
called-
was that?
Let's see, that would have been around 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I remember going Pro Tools because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know there were magazines for this stuff. I was just a kid
Right.
making do with what I had because I had no resources.
Kid with the fascination.
It wasn't until I got to be like 19 and I was out of high school and I was working that then I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy microphones, and that's when I got my first 4-track tape machine, and then hated it and went right back to the computer. But yeah, in high school, we wound up getting up to like Cakewalk version 9. But we would like pass around Cakewalk Home Studio, and that was like 8 tracks, and you could like layer stuff on top. A lot of it was very limited, but we made do, and we had a good time. And you made do with 8 tracks. But the reason I'm asking, so you got to go to the studio for what? How many days? A month?
A day.
A day. How much did the day cost?
I want to say the day was about like $250.
$250. Do you know what you can get a day in this town for today?
No idea.
About $350.
Really?
You can if you have $350, you can find a good studio in Austin.
So it was a 12-hour day, but I mean it was mixing and recording and mixing all in the same day, and we had to have our parents take us out there because it was out in the county. And
Now, did
none of
that
us-
$250 include the tape?
we did not keep the master.
So you didn't. So they would have used the house reels.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think he did quite that much business, but I really don't know.
Well, but like he would have taped over it.
Yeah, he eventually would have taped over that.
The engineer was extra, probably, right?
The engineer was also the owner, so
Yeah, okay.
It was a guy with
You have to contract.
it was a guy with a studio in what would have otherwise been a barn, but he finished it out and
Yeah.
made it a studio. So it had a drum room and a vocal booth, and then an open room for everyone else,
Yeah.
and 1 compressor and like 2 reverb units and maybe a delay. It was a nice board. I think it was a Trident.
And the funny thing is, it's basically how I like to make records now. So we talked a lot about how. So, but with that, when you do the self-producing thing,
Mhm.
because I hear it all the time, especially as a guitarist, you almost never release anything when you self-produce.
You're never happy with it.
You're never happy with it.
It's true.
I got news for you. You'll never be happy with it. Ask anybody
Mm-hmm.
with their release through a major label. They hate everything about it. And it's what drives them to make the next one, is because maybe they can do a better one.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nothing wrong with that. I mean,
the whole point of a
Keep going.
label is you're basically delegating the good enough threshold to somebody else.
And that's just it, right? Which is when you self-produce, and I hate self-producing.
I
I
do
just
too.
loathe it. It isn't so much.
I self-produce a lot.
The thing is, I don't expect necessarily a better mix. Although typically, if I get someone else to do it, I feel like I'll get a better mix. But I don't necessarily expect it. But what I do expect when someone else is doing that for me is to not have to divide my attentions, as
energy.
an artist
Oh,
and
yeah.
a performer
for sure.
with engineer
You have to change your scope.
and then mixer,
Yeah.
because you have to perform the engineer part and the artist part simultaneously
Straining.
during the tracking sessions.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to delegate that off and let someone else do it, and even let someone else mix it, even if I think, oh, that, my vocals are much too loud because I hate the way I sing, right? So
now here's the pitfall, though, right? The pitfall is the other side of this coin is when you're asking somebody else to do it for you, they expect compensation in some way. So, right? So when you have no money and you're making your first album, you don't get that. You don't get that luxury unless you're going to save a bunch of money and then pay a guy. But even paying a guy $250 a day, it's going to take you.
Right.
Well, and then they want to put their stamp on it, obviously. So.
Well,
and that's
like we talked to Steve Albini last week, right? Steve Albini tries to not put his stamp on it.
Yes.
Though, I mean,
like Mutt Lange would though.
The way he likes to do things, the way he likes to capture things, that already puts a stamp on it. But yeah, he tries to stay out of the way artistically. And so I went to college to learn how to put my stamp on it, on how to be a producer like that. And I really looked up to the guys like George Martin and and Brian Eno. And I kind of looked at like Rick Rubin and went,
Rick Rubin, yeah.
Not so much for me, but as time has gone on, it's more like, well, actually, yeah, just stay out of the way of the band. Let them just capture it.
Your thoughts on the noise war?
Yeah, well, the loudness war you're talking about? The loudness war only matters in commercial radio. It makes no difference to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I push things into commercial loudness, sure, because I was a mastering engineer full time, and I know how to do it. But you got to remember, there's this thing about your ear. If you hear something louder than something else, it's automatically better.
Oh yeah.
Whatever's louder is just automatically better to your ear. It's a weird bias that we have. It's a psychoacoustic effect, and that's what's driven the loudness wars over the years. And I still buy vinyl, and
if you think about the psychoacoustic wars, it really has to do with immediate threat, right? From a long time ago in our history, whereas if something's louder, it's closer to you and quite likely going to eat you.
Yes, definitely. It kind of initiates
grabs your attention,
a flight or fight response, and it kind of gets you going, and that's kind of the whole deal with music in the first place.
And ironically, some of the albums that are not mastered quite as hot, they actually sound better when transmitted over FM radio. Because FM radio compresses the snot out of everything anyway. So if it's already compressed, it's just not compressing much more, but it's still degrading the audio. Where the punchier masters got it'll be more compressed, but it'll survive that compression.
Some of my favorite records are pretty quiet too. I mean, you have to turn them up, and you can hear some cool stuff in there.
Yeah, there's a volume knob. We don't need to push to 0 as hard as we do, but there's a volume knob.
No 11.
But the pitfalls of self-producing really come down back to this, right? The pitfalls really come down to you have to figure out a way to deal with it where how do you determine it's done?
Right.
Because when you can sit there and tweak it in your spare time forever, you will.
The definition of producer will always change. I mean, you have, the Mutt Lange version of the producer where he was like a coach, and Def Leppard just came up with like a riff, and he was like, oh, that's good, we're going to use that.
But Mutt Lange engineers.
That too, yeah.
He's an engineer producer. He's more of a...
Yeah, and he
spends a lot of time on the mixes.
Yeah, like, Shania Twain's sound is very... he's responsible for a lot of that, and a producer can also help with marketing too.
You're so young.
Understanding, I am young, but it does give me a fresh perspective on things. I will say.
So Steve Albini's made over 2,000 records.
1,500 according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's higher than that now.
Probably. Yes.
He's not updating his own Wikipedia page.
Yeah, that's true.
So I've thought long and hard about this. I've been around the guys who have made the records with name producers, and they're like, oh yeah, they think that if I attach myself to this name, this known name, that it will somehow sell more copies. It doesn't.
Yeah, I guess
a myth.
With aficionados, possibly, but yeah, pretty general speaking, marginally it would increase, and for all intents and purposes, it doesn't matter.
If your goal is major label,
right,
to be signed to a major label and get radio and do the radio play thing and generate a lot of like publicity, sure, maybe it helps a little, but what those guys will charge, it's almost impossible to make it back.
You know what I'm interested in doing as a project? I'd almost be willing to spend the money to do it too. So, the most recent release from Isotope is a software that basically mixes by Mix Wizard, right? It analyzes your files, your WAV files.
I know.
You know, it'd be kind of interesting to go, I'm going to do like 3 tunes, and I'm going to actually just let it make the choices and see what the heck comes out.
Maybe it's a masterpiece.
I mean, realistically, it's not...
Well, Roland's been playing with this auto mixing thing.
Well,
too.
and so has the guys who did Easy Drummer, right? They also have one as well, Easy Mix and that sort of thing. But apparently the Isotope one's the latest release from them is a little more advanced in terms of its analysis of each file, and it'd be very interesting. I mean, sooner or later, just like everything else, technology is going to eat some of that.
I still think that
does.
a mix can be a work of art.
It can be,
for
but I'm just
sure.
saying when you
Like,
take certain
money.
types of music, like
All
the
of Dark Side of the Moon.
stuff I hear on the radio when I'm
Oh, yeah.
driving my stepdaughter
But that stuff
to
has nothing to do
school.
with art. That's not art. That's
Don't tell the artist.
commodity music.
Breaking on my music.
I'm pretty sure that the Beeb feels differently about it from you.
I'm pretty sure the Beeb.
We're going mainstream now. Shania Twain and Justin Bieber.
If we were to talk to the Beeb, hopefully the Beeb will come onto the podcast, because actually I have a lot of respect for the Beeb, because he's a pretty good drummer.
His
Actually,
face punching antics.
he's a pretty good. You know, he can play rhythm guitar.
I mean,
Yeah, I saw
now
him
you're
on
getting into a different
Letterman.
discussion, which is if something is a mass-produced product, does that necessarily...
mass-produced can absolutely be art. Absolutely,
I say if it's good, it's good.
it's good. If it's good, I'm with Cole on this.
And what if a
It's
piece
good,
of
it's
software mixes and produces? Is it still good?
good. No,
What if it sounds good, though?
it won't.
It's like that bot that's starting to write music, and like they made like a Beatles sounding. Did
And
you
it
guys see
sounded
that?
weird.
It sounded
Yes.
weird. It wasn't a human mode of human expression.
I was saying...
By the way, they still had humans perform it,
Yeah.
so they cheated. Until the robot can do all of that, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, so any auto mixing, yeah, we could try it. How much is the software?
I don't... It's more than I want to spend right now. But
Yeah.
it's... I saw it, and I was like, I'd give
Okay,
it a run.
let's do this. Let's do this, right? If somebody wants to pre-order a copy of whatever Tom does with this thing, we'll put a link in the description. It'll be paypal.me/the Jazz Destroyers, and then we'll have your email. And if we can raise enough money, if you all kick in $10,
Question is, if I write a dirty song, can it auto bleep the words?
no,
Oh, that'd be awesome.
it would help. It would help. But I think what you'll find is those mixes will be supremely boring mixes. They'll be sufficient, sure, but they'll be demo mixes. They won't be those. It won't be an artistic mix.
So it'll be like everything else on pop music radio to these days.
I say the bar is pretty low, right?
The bar right now is pretty low, but we're just watching we're just watching the industry collapse in on itself.
Sure.
Eventually, it will become a single company that owns.
called
owns-
iTunes.
Yeah.
Well, in many ways, it's iTunes, but it'll become a single company that controls most of the radio. That controls Vivo, right? It'll the last of the three majors will eventually collapse into one.
They
What's
love
a
the
Vivo?
Vivo's the big YouTube thing. where all
commercial
the-
YouTube.
Yeah, it's
You mean Vimeo?
no.
Vimeo's another
Vimeo's a different
platform.
Oh, Vivo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
thing. Yeah, so
All the major label artists have a Vivo account.
Vivo is owned by the majors.
Yeah, all the
I
major
seem
4
detached?
record labels, right?
That's fine. So you'll wind up. They'll all collapse into one, and then eventually it'll go like a supernova. Boom. Because either it'll be broken up like they did with AT&T back in the. When did they break up AT&T?
Into the Baby Bells?
Yeah.
Who broke them up?
No, when?
Oh, jeez. that was
Well,
nice.
anyway, it'll be like that when they broke. AT&T used to have a monopoly on all phone service in
Yeah.
America, and they broke it up.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Right,
I
but
thought it was Ma Bell, but
Ma Bell was AT&T, and then they broke
When
up
it
into Baby
became
Bells.
things like
Okay.
Southwestern Bell and Pacific Bell and all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right. So it
SBC,
will
yeah.
eventually turn into this single company who controls the 360 deals. So they'll control the touring, especially the stadium level tours. They'll control the radio waves, and they'll control all the production of these artists, and they'll pluck them off of things like YouTube, like they did with Bieber. They'll pluck them off. They'll go, oh, this kid got 4 million views. Boom, come in. Put them through the pipeline just like they do now. It'll just become so singular and homogenized. It'll be a single sound, and that is when it will finally die.
Yeah.
And then from the ashes will be Get Off My Lawn Records trying to make the music.
Yes.
That's the whole point of what we do.
Got it. That's
like,
the system.
like we're just trying to work with
That's it.
12 artists that we like, and we're gonna make the records work the way we're gonna make them. We're gonna make them sound as good as we can make them,
We've got 12 flavors.
and we're gonna sell them. We're gonna sell them directly, right? We're gonna sell them at the gigs. They're available online, but nobody's buying them online. We sell more physically in person than we do online. And so if we all pool our audiences,
Sure.
and the big upside is that I'll just produce all of it. I don't want to do P&D deals.
Right.
I want to cut records. So then I'll produce it, but I'm taking that Steve Albini approach of like just try to stay out of the way. And
I liked what he had to say about that.
yeah,
That's cool.
just try to stay out of the way. Now, granted, part of it is it's way easier to produce those records. I get a lot of, yeah, I write songs. Can you produce a record for me? Okay, do you have a band? Well, no. I thought you could like play the drums and the bass and the. Yes, I can play the drums and the bass and the guitar. No, I will not do that. When you make a record that way, it takes about 24 hours per
Yeah,
song.
I've done that. That's a pain.
It's a huge pain. Put a band together. Get in a room. Make some music. Music's a collaborative experience. Doing it alone in a room like that is just miserable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one pitfall.
Oh, Regal Cat
self-producing.
is out cold on you.
She is.
Oh, she's being so cute. So,
Well, you're also
No, I agree with that.
I'm being long-winded.
you're also leaving out one of the major pitfalls of self-producing.
Which is?
You don't have another set of ears,
There's
Yeah.
not another set of ears. That's
There's
You know,
so
it's
many
good for, to
pitfalls.
have some
And-
criticism. Yeah.
and that's a big one, especially as you age. You know, if you're not getting regular ear tests
Sure.
and making sure that your hearing is up to par, it's going to be reflected in whatever you produce.
Become self-absorbed too.
That's also true. That's
Yep.
the one. It can
And
become
it's a big
very
one.
self-absorbed.
And definitely.
You know, because if you just disappear into your own echo chamber like that, and
That's
nobody
what a lot
else-
of these acts do too. They have entourages. They have people who are like not critiquing them, enabling them, and so they become in their own little psyche bubble, and then they suck. That's how it works.
basically.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next? Announcements, goals, and a giveaway. So, so the first off is the announcements. Best of Freeform Fridays 2016 is coming very shortly. I've begun mastering it. Tom, I think, wants to announce his turkey hat. God, that thing is weird.
I don't know. It's great, right?
It's a lobster. No.
Tom's basically intentionally trying to mess up the infomercial part of this.
Yes.
I know MC Overlord, he's finishing up an album with somebody else, and then he's going to come do ours. It's a secret to nobody's coming to iTunes probably in a couple weeks. So iTunes, Amazon, I'm going to do a wider release. That's available right now on Bandcamp for pay what you want. So once it goes to the other platforms, it will become more expensive. So pick it up now or pick it up later. The Jazz Destroyers Live, we got download cards. I gave Cole a download card.
I've got it.
Tom, stick one of these in your wallet. We got these spiffy
Very pretty.
download cards. They're $5 if you see us in person. This album's $10 on the Bandcamp, but the big tech snakes, they take a lot off the top, and I had to pay. You know, I would rather give a discount to the people who come and support us by seeing us live. So they're $5 when you see us live. They're $10 online. It's a good album. The internet's back is the big hit. Honey, if you point up, yep, I'll put a link to that one, the big single from the album. What else? Escape from Ignorance. Steven is still writing. We're gonna have to get him out of that funk. Tapes and CDs are imminent. So imminent. Probably a couple more weeks and I'll have the equipment to start that. We're gonna do CD manufacturing in-house.
Oh, cool.
Cole was asking me kind of about this like our business model before. Yeah, we're doing tapes, we're doing CDs. The tapes will be part of the Get Off My Lawn Artisan Sound series, where we'll actually hand make packaging. We'll do CDs with the hand making of the packaging. Yeah, it's got a little LED on
It
it.
needs a sticker. It's very blinding.
Oh, my tape is.
I have a cat butt sticker at home. I'll bring it. It's a little tiny cat butt.
Okay. And Sounds in Between. That'll probably get started here pretty soon. We'll talk to Josh, and then I don't know what Eleanor's.
Is that Josh
Millman.
Peters'
Not
project?
Millman.
Sounds in between?
Yeah, Sounds in Between. And then he's got
Milner?
No, there's another one coming too. We'll have more information as that comes up. So and then finally Your Name Here. We still got a couple slots left. I can only really take on about 12. So once we hit that 12, we're gonna have to cut that off and focus on just making the records for those 12. And then
Of course.
and then next year we'll figure out who's coming back, who's
Sure.
not. You know, that whole thing.
Definitely, yeah.
Not everybody's got something to say. Jesse Thunderwake soundtrack is gonna have to go on the back burner for a little while. Let me get through the best of Freeform Fridays. So goals. Right now, currently, I believe the label this channel has 98 subscribers. I would like to get it to 100, please. Pretty please subscribe.
It's almost there.
Pretty please. It kills
So
me.
close. So
The
close.
Jazz Destroyers are at 149. We've got once we get to the 150, so if somebody goes and subscribes to the Jazz Destroyers, we've got a really special treat. We got a nice cover we did down at Kenny Dorma's backyard that we'll release on to celebrate that.
Yes, so please go placate Don's OCD with the numbers. And
Well, the 100 for this podcast is a big deal because
yes, that's a big deal.
there's a whole thing with YouTube once you get to 100.
That's good. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
Little milestone.
And yet you let me come on here and trash Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I have another announcement. Tom, if you'll pass me the
YouTube partner with Ghost.
This one of these is for you, Tom.
Oh,
Please, Fortu, put it on your car.
no.
Or a guitar case.
I'll put it on something.
Put it on something.
I don't put things on my car.
I don't either, right? But we got stickers.
Stickers.
Pretty nifty.
Stickers. I got them. There'll be a shout out for the company that made these. Union Shop. Made by Union Labor. That's pretty cool.
Who's that caricature
and they
based
gave
off
us a
of?
nice shout out
I
as
have
well.
no idea.
It's hilarious.
I
He's
just-
got a full beard.
I paid a guy online $5. I think it was Horrible Logos Done Cheap. Was the name of the website, and the deal was you give him $5, you tell him what the name of the thing is, and that's it.
They do it.
And he sends it back to you.
I thought you drew it.
I thought you drew it too.
Well, that's good because I don't draw that good. And he sends it back, and there are no revisions.
That's it.
And if you like it, you can pay him another $5 for the high res version. But yeah, there's no revisions.
That
There's no
is
nothing. It's just you
cost
give him
effective.
$5 and it comes back. Yeah, so I paid $5 for the logo. He did a great job.
That's it.
And
One-off artist. That's cool.
and yeah, you see the little logo on all the YouTube stuff we do now.
Oh yeah.
It's right there, right? Like I'm trying to think where it would be. It would probably be right over my. Would it be over my head or Tom?
Tom said.
Yeah, right above Tom.
Gobble gobble.
So.
He's quite an intimidating fellow.
So we did 1,000 of these. So if you see us in person, these will be $1 a piece. And then if you buy a download card, you buy a CD, buy a tape, you get a sticker. So stickers. They've also been going on everything. Every guitar case I have. It's the only sticker on my archtop case.
We gotta wrap this up. This hat's getting itchy.
Got it.
Yeah, that's.
All right. So the giveaway. Let's do this. Leave a comment. Funniest comment. I will figure out how to get in touch with you. You will give me your address. And I'll send you a sticker. First edition. So, all right.
Do we have a panel for the funniest comment, or is it the discretion of Don Moore?
It's just me.
Yeah.
It's all the
Got it.
discretion of Dawn.
And we're exempt because otherwise I would just win it.
You already got a sticker.
I know. But
And you got a sticker.
I'd win it again.
Got it.
And you got a
Got-
sticker.
yes.
Everybody gets a sticker.
We love stickers here.
I've got a comment now.
Love
It's just
stickers.
That's fine. All right.
If you buy stuff, everybody gets a sticker.
All right. What's next? Do you want to take the hat off, or you?
I do, but I can only set it in my lap, and then it becomes an awkward
Set it on the
codpiece.
floor. Here,
Family friendly, right?
Yeah, family friendly. It's like if I put this in my lap, it looks
That
funny.
looks suggestive. I don't know.
It does look suggestive,
You can
especially
sit
with
it on
that
the
angle.
floor.
I'll just put it over here.
Yeah, put it on the DX7.
I just wanted to do that.
Did you ever have a DX7?
DX9.
Funny.
Ah.
Lobster
So,
party.
All right. Number 10.
Shout-outs.
Shout-outs. This is one of my favorite sections. I love this because I do a lot of talking about myself, and I hate talking about myself. And we're just gonna watch Tom mess with his hair.
It's huge. I can feel it.
But this is where we each shout out 3 things, people, places, whatever, that are not us. That like not bands we're in, not anything like that. We're just stuff we like. So my first shout out is to Bumper Active.
Yes.
They even made a post.
They gave
On
you-
Facebook?
They gave us a lovely shout out.
They
as
gave
well.
us a great shout out. I love Bumper Active. Union Shop. It's why I decided to work with them.
They're the ones who made the sticker.
They made the stickers,
Yeah.
and they were reasonable.
Good deal.
It was an outlay of cash because I made 1,000 of them, but yeah, it was a really good experience. And they stuck one on the wall. That's on the Instagram page. That's a lot of fun. My second one is to Jennifer Lee, who she started her own website. She's been helping us with our website. So I'll get that link. I'll put that in the description. She's part of my third shout out, which is the Get Off My Lawn Records family. So shout out to everybody in the family because that's what this is really all about. It's a community. And Cole, I consider you a member.
Awesome.
I will go add you to the Facebook group. I
Okay.
try not to post too much.
2 partial gigs. They went well.
Hey, you're
fun.
doing great.
Thanks, man.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
We're going to have you in on Freeform Fridays.
It'll be fun.
That'll be January 2nd.
Alrighty.
Tom's going to be out of town, though, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Because I think Joe might come up. Joe's done some gigs with me.
Okay. I don't know what. I'm not sure of my schedule. Right
Yeah,
now.
we'll figure it out. But January 2nd will be the next Freeform Fridays session.
Yes.
They're done being recorded for the year. We finished that back in September. The videos are finally edited. Cool. And then, darling, why don't you do your 3 so they can think about their shout outs?
I actually wrote mine down this time.
That's usually a good idea.
Yes. Okay. So first shout out is going to be to Research Pet and Bird Hospital. Who who took lovely, lovely care of Regal Cat here.
You have to actually
morning.
send them these videos.
I'm really gonna have to.
That was Danielle's first job as a tech there when we moved to Austin.
Really?
Yeah.
When was that?
1998.
Oh yeah, we
Okay.
weren't in town because we when we had the ferrets, we were there constantly.
Yeah. So yeah, they took lovely, lovely care of her this morning, and as you can see, she just needs love now.
Yeah.
And then my second shout out is to Alicia Brophy and Scott Miles, who put together videos under the name The Doomsday Bunker.
Okay.
And they do stop motion animation with Legos.
Very cool.
And their latest one was just released. It's How the Donald Stole Christmas.
Gotcha.
So
So you have to actually compile these as links and email them to me when we're done, please.
okay.
Okay.
And then my third shout out is to Passive Aggressive Allies. There's been a number of stories lately about people refusing to put up with bigotry for whatever reason. Like I just read one this morning about a woman in, I think it was Washington State, who her new neighbor is of the religion that she had left, and went on and on about how she'd moved to get her kid away from a school that allowed lesbians to go to prom together and allowed transgender kids to use whatever bathroom they wanted, and so her response was to basically turn her front hedges into a giant rainbow flag using Christmas lights.
Awesome. That's how you combat that.
There's,
Okay.
There's another story about people who had one of the American pride flags,
Yeah.
and one of their neighbors had left them a note saying that the flag made them very uncomfortable. They shared that note with their neighbors. Their neighbors all went out and bought the flag. So now they're all doing it.
Eat it.
And in
Little bit of bullying, but that's okay. Is that your third?
and then in D.C., in Mike Pence's neighborhood.
I understand, but let's...
I know, I'm just saying. Everybody in his new neighborhood is welcoming him with pride flags.
Awesome.
So,
Tom, you got 3 shout-outs?
Sure.
What are your 3?
Church of the Friendly Ghost.
Church of the Friendly Ghost is great. They do all sorts of really good stuff.
Emancipate.
Emancipate. Yeah.
So they are familiar?
I don't think I'm familiar.
Let's
Yeah, I don't know.
Really, we're getting pretty tight on time. Let's
So just I'll
give me
know
a
the
I'll be
links.
quick
Yeah.
too.
link in the description.
And for number 3, I had something.
Fuzz.
No, it wasn't Fuzz. It wasn't even remotely Fuzz.
Tom's got this really
Like the effect,
adorable
the guitar
dog.
effect? Or
No, he's got this cat.
I do have a cat.
Ivan the Terrible.
It's like
Calls
Get
him Fuzz.
Fuzzy. The comic strip.
I don't know if there's a link to it. There is a link. I'll send it to you for David Barrick and Barrick Productions in Glasgow, Kentucky.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
So
All right. And Cole, what are your 3 shout-outs?
Okay, so I've been thinking of them just now,
Good.
but I've got some good ones.
Okay.
The first one is Ryan in Fasten, the ride-sharing platform that got me here today.
Yeah, that's right. Shout out to Ryan.
It was hilarious. Don knew Ryan, and I had no idea. He just drove me out here, so it was a funny coincidence.
How long have you
So-
been in Austin?
Been in Austin now for about a year.
Yeah, that's...
I'd used Uber and Lyft before Prop 1 and all that stuff.
But I've been in Austin now for, 8-10 years? I've been here a while.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, that's why so when Cole showed up, he was just blown away that, I knew
I was.
Ryan. And he's like, how do you know Ryan? I'm like, life. You just... It's not
Don's
that
a man
big.
about town.
It's not that big of a city, you know? All right, what's your second shout-out?
My second shout out.
We should give a big shout-out to Fran, too.
Definitely. But the Oscar Blues Brewery, I went there the other night.
Oh, yeah?
It was a neat place. I saw a funk band play.
Very cool.
It was a cool venue. Some good beer too.
like beer,
my
clearly.
third shout out will be to Don Moore and Get Off My Lawn Records
I don't
for having
count.
me on the podcast. No, it was a great experience. It's been fun.
We're not done.
I really appreciate the opportunity. So
We're
that's
not-
my third.
We're not done. We'll do... The next one will be pretty quick.
Alrighty.
But I appreciate that. All right, what's next? The Tyranny of the Blank Page.
Blank pages are scary.
Blank pages are totally scary.
Definitely.
That's the hardest part with a project, is staring at that blank page. Once you get 1 or 2 notes on the page, the rest of it kind of falls in place, but it's getting those first couple notes. Do you find that?
it actually, I don't find that.
Yeah.
Which is my problem with the blank page is for writing lyrics.
Yeah,
typically.
lyrics.
Lyrics are hard for me.
Lyrics are tough. The music part, usually I'll have a couple of riffs in the back of my head all time that I've sort of moved up in the top 5 slot. But realistically, with lyrics, it's kind of like you almost have to. I do the trick where I imagine that I'm trying to scam someone out of money and then sending them an email that looks like I replied to an email that they sent me, even though we've never actually spoken.
Well, that's an interesting trick.
I just made that
that's
up.
a cool
Just
prompt
now with my
technique.
phone, I made that up. But now I have an idea. So
There you go.
you can get ideas from anything. So I just try to look
Yeah,
at
just
it like that.
deriving inspiration from anywhere.
Though the real tyranny of the blank page is when you have to do it.
Really,
That's-
I find
that's
it
where the tyranny
completely the
comes.
opposite. I find that having to do it actually takes away the tyranny completely.
It just makes it easy to
It just boom.
It's got to be done.
I
It's
can,
just-
I can work under pressure.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
have
good
the
about
pressure,
pressure,
I
yeah.
can't. So
So some people will find the tyranny with the deadline. Some will find it without.
right.
Definitely.
But yeah, we did another one. We did a previous video called "Getting a Project Off the Ground," and this is really, getting a project off the ground. It's just hard to get a band together and get all the moving pieces together. But this is really, it's even hard just getting the material written. Except you go through these periods of your life where like I can write 100 songs in a year. Okay, are any of them good?
Right.
But I think that if you write 100 songs in a year,
You're practicing.
the last 25 will be remarkably better than the first 25.
Always.
And because it's like going to the gym.
It's like a scrap pile too.
Right.
But also, I mean, if you really have that deadline, a lot of people go, I'm gonna write 100 songs in a year, right? But they don't have anything forcing them to write.
Right. If
that
you gotta
actual,
if you're on Get Off My Lawn Records and I tell you you've got a year, you know, or really with me, it's more like you got a couple of months.
right?
It's like either have the material written or go write it in a couple
Then
months.
you're manufacturing Inspirato.
Kind of.
But the thing is,
There's
you
something
have
creative about the
to.
deadline.
There is something creative about the deadline, and I think the thing is, you have to be able to be. You're taking away something that the other person really values for the deadline to mean anything.
Yeah, that's true. So, I just want to be quick on this one, right? I try to do these as a motivation. This is more like a motivational speech. Listen, it's a myth. There is no tyranny in the blank page. It's all this.
I agree.
You gotta break down the mental barriers.
Yeah.
Look at it, put down a word, start with one word, add a second word.
Start with one line.
Start with a letter,
Yeah.
right?
A color.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing.
But start with a thing and
Draw a
then build from the
masterpiece.
thing. And don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed by the result. You know, I always say you have to go in with an idea of what you want. Right? You have to have a vision. But the vision should only become clear as you do it. If you go in having every single thing pre-planned, it'll never go right, and you'll hate it. If you go in with a kind of vague plan, but a plan, it'll come into focus and turn into something real special. So, yeah.
Or at least something that's done.
So yeah, and that's the
That's
hardest
special.
part.
It's done.
Sometimes
It's
that's all
special.
that matters.
When you're dealing with the pitfalls of self-producing, that is
Right, yeah, I'd find like when you write, like if you can just finish an idea and live with it for a little bit, revisit it, you'll find it was a lot better than you thought when you were making it.
See, Tom is going to make me clean that keyboard. That
Yes.
keyboard's been amassing stuff. Tom's sitting here been fiddling
Oh,
with
this
it.
one.
You have no idea how hard it's been for me to not fiddle with all that stuff on there.
All right. What's next?
But that was it.
Fine. Last
Everybody
section.
gets a trophy.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Woohoo!
So this is where we give each other a trophy. That's my Mucinex, because I'm still a bit under the weather. Everybody gets a trophy. So I will start, and I will give Carissa the Soldiering On Award this week. You brought the cat to the vet.
Yes.
You're doing the podcast.
Yes.
You know, you're soldiering on this week. Way to go, because you caught my cold.
Yes.
So I know exactly how crappy you feel.
I hate you so much right
So
now.
way to go.
Wow, I thought I left my toll bill here, but it's just yours.
No, that's my
No.
toll bill.
All right. I would like to give Tom the award for best hat.
That's what I was,
Best hat.
Yes.
Best hat.
There you go.
I do make it easy to get a trophy for myself. I don't know.
You gotta give somebody else a. It can be sarcastic.
It can
It
be,
will definitely be sarcastic.
be scathing.
I'm giving Don the trophy for his incredibly. I don't even know how to put this. You have a belief in yourself that is beyond compare.
Self-promotion.
I mean,
you
and that
sure?
is both a compliment and a little bit of a dig.
Are you sure?
Yeah, really.
I'm not sure I do.
It's ridiculous.
You may not, but you're good at faking it.
I'm good. That's exactly it. I'm
No,
really
at some point there is no difference between faking it and doing it.
you
That's
fake
the
it till
myth.
you make it.
Yep.
Fake
And
it
you
till
don't even
make
know the
it.
difference after
I
a while.
I mean, I've heard that before, but I haven't heard it in a while.
Faking it is doing it.
That's true.
That's why they call it the fake book.
Or like Jake would describe it, I'm just completely unaware. I have like no self-awareness.
Also obliviousness, yes.
Yeah,
but we'll
it requires some obliviousness. Part of it is like I just output a lot because I've just given up the parameters of it.
Yes,
You
and
know-
you've shot another video about that.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So, yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we'll give the final one to Cole. Cole here gets the Hustle Award.
Yeah.
And Cole totally deserves the Hustle Award because, do you remember how this worked? You came out, I think you pestered me. You either pestered me on Facebook first,
I did.
and then you came out to the highball to watch us play.
That's right. I did.
And then you followed up with me.
Mm-hmm.
No, we met at Mozart's, wasn't it?
Yes, we did.
We were playing at Mozart's, we met, and then you followed up with me.
Mm-hmm.
You then came to the show. You then followed up with me again.
Yes, sir.
And look what happened. We put you on stage with us.
That's
You were
awesome.
putting you on the Freeform Fridays.
Stuff's been happening.
That is
Really appreciate it.
that is how the industry works. So don't ever lose that. Don't just, if stuff really starts to hang, with what you're doing with us, that'd be great.
For sure.
But don't rest on your laurels, because that's the other lesson I learned is that once you get a couple of cushy gigs going, it gets really easy to take the whole thing for granted.
Sure, yeah.
So don't lose that hustle. You've got that. That is
I appreciate the advice. That's
the
good.
most. That's the part that will make you a successful musician.
Thanks, Don.
Hey, absolutely, and thank you for watching. Why don't you give the audience the trophy for hanging out till the end? And thank you.
Or fall.
Or you got
Either
that
way.
There we
camera
go.
right in front of
No,
you,
the
too.
camera's
Oh,
right
we
here.
got it.
Yeah, it's right here. So the trophy goes to the audience for watching. So thumbs
Yes.
up, subscribe. I'm sure you've subscribed. It would almost be silly to watch this far and not subscribe. We do this every week. I'm working on getting it into a consistent time. I'm thinking 4 p.m. on Sundays or something.
Okay.
And we'll make announcements through the Facebook page. Go join the Get Off My Lawn Records family. If you watched it all the way through here, go join the family. And I post all sorts of I post about once a day, so you're not getting bombarded with notifications about what's on Don's mind. I'm not Donald Trump, but
Thank God.
I try to provide things that don't go on the Facebook page. I try to provide things that only the fans would appreciate. Last week, the cat hung out on my lap for about 5 minutes afterwards, and the cameras were rolling. I couldn't get up to stop the cameras, so I edited it and I put it up on Facebook, and that was specifically for that group, and it was kind of funny. So thanks for watching, and on that note,